Why did God keep changing people's names in the Bible? Abram became Abraham. Jacob became Israel. Simon became Peter. Saul became Paul. So, why did God keep doing this? Because sometimes, God changes your identity before He changes your situation. And that's important. Because many people keep asking God to change their life, while still holding on to the identity that is destroying them. But throughout the Bible, God often renamed people when their old identity could no longer carry their calling. Think about Jacob. His very name meant deceiver, manipulator, struggler, and for years, Jacob lived according to that identity. Until one night, he wrestled with God. And after the struggle, God changed his name to Israel. Why? Because some identities only die after wrestling with God. And some of you are frustrated with the struggle, not realizing God is trying to break the identity you were never supposed to keep. Because God did not call them by who they were. He called them by who they were becoming. People saw Simon, impulsive, emotional, unstable. But Jesus looked at him and said, "You are Peter, a rock." Think about that. One saw weakness, the other saw destiny. And maybe that's why God keeps calling you forward while you keep looking backward. Because heaven is not identifying you by your worst moment. God is identifying you by the person He is creating. But transformation is uncomfortable, because before God gives you a new identity, He often has to destroy the old one, the old mindset, the old pride, the old habits, the old wounds, the old version of you that keeps trying to survive in a season God already outgrew. And some of you keep asking, why has my life been so uncomfortable lately? Because God is pulling you away from an identity that no longer matches your future. The enemy keeps reminding you who you were, but God keeps calling you by who you're becoming. That's why the process feels so painful. Because identity transformation feels like death before it feels like freedom. And maybe the reason God allowed the wrestling, the breaking, the wilderness, was because your old identity could not enter the break. Next season of your life, so stop clinging to the version of yourself God is trying to leave behind. Because one encounter with God can change more than your situation. It can change who you are. The enemy keeps reminding you who you were, while God keeps calling you by who you're becoming. And maybe the reason this season has felt so uncomfortable is because God is destroying an identity that can no longer follow you into your future. Because God will sometimes break the person you used to be before revealing the person He created you to become. So stop mourning the old version of yourself. Heaven already moved on from it.